Hello, it's Saturday, the 17th of January. You're tuned in to our late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's great to have you with us. I'm Mark Broome. We begin with news that some high-ranking North Korean officials are in Singapore ahead of a two-day meeting with several retired US diplomats. Not much is known about what they plan to discuss, but watchers say they are sure to talk about North Korea's nuclear weapons program and Washington's upcoming military drills with Seoul. Choi You-sun reports.
Pyongyang's chief nuclear negotiator Ri Yong-ho will hold talks with Stephen Bosworth, Washington's former point man on North Korea, in Singapore starting Sunday. The so-called 1.5 talks between the two countries' current and former government officials are a follow-up to their previous gathering in Mongolia last May. Reviving dialogue with Washington is expected to top Pyongyang's agenda given the Obama administration's latest sanctions on the regime for its alleged hacking of Sony Pictures. Since the U.S. rejected North Korea's latest offer to suspend its nuclear tests if Washington stopped its annual military exercises with Seoul, Pyongyang earlier this week proposed that they meet. The U.S. called the North's offer a veiled threat that inappropriately linked nuclear tests to military exercises that are defensive in nature.
North Korea can demonstrate its intentions with its actions and not make these kinds of implicit threats, but instead uphold their obligations.
The North also accused Washington of increasing its attack military capabilities with Seoul while not allowing Pyongyang to do the same.
This is absolutely unacceptable and cannot be justified by anything.
Not getting the answer it wanted from Washington, Pyongyang has been pressuring Seoul to cancel the military drills, linking it as a precondition to Seoul's recent offer for inter-Korean dialogue. In any case, both the U.S. and South Korea are adamant the drills will go ahead as planned. And it seems the U.S. government is placing limited significance on the Singapore meeting, as none of these so-called 1.5 talks have ever actually led to government-to-government talks. Choi You-sun, Arirang News.
Now, for the first time in 13 years, South Korea's export growth last year lagged behind that of growth in global trade volume. The Bank of Korea says Korean exports are estimated to have increased by 2.1% in 2014, below the IMF's global trade growth estimate of 3.3%. In the 1980s, Korean exports expanded 3 times faster than global trade and even kept pace during the Asian financial crisis in the late 1990s. But concerns are rising that Korea's export-driven economy could stagnate as export growth has been losing momentum since the 2008 global financial crisis. The central bank expects the country's outbound shipments to expand 3.4% this year, while the IMF forecasts world trade to increase by 5%. Korea is now more than a third of the way through a 36-hour movement ban on all poultry, farmers and related equipment as the country attempts to prevent the further spread of bird flu. The Agriculture Ministry says the ban, which came into effect at 6 a.m. on Saturday, will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Sunday. Those ordered to stay put include poultry farms and people involved in the business, including truck drivers and vets. Well over 100,000 people in the local poultry industry have been affected by this movement ban. More than 30,000 facilities, including farms, slaughterhouses and animal feed producers, are also under the order. During the movement ban period, farms also have to decontaminate their equipment. Now, there are fears tonight that a young Korean man might have joined the extremist group Islamic State. A daily newspaper in Turkey reports that the man, who went missing last Saturday in a Turkish town bordering Syria, crossed the border and joined IS. The identity of the man has yet to be confirmed, but he's said to be in his late teens. The paper goes on to say that the man had been emailing Islamic State fighters before he illegally entered Turkey with another person on January 8th. A Korean embassy official in Ankara says the embassy is working to verify the report and is in contact with the Turkish government to try and locate this Korean national. If confirmed, it would mark the first known case of a Korean joining Islamic State. The United States and Britain are going to set up a new joint group to counter the rise of violent extremism in the wake of the Paris terror attacks. Following talks with US President Barack Obama at the White House, British Prime Minister David Cameron pulled absolutely no punches, saying they were determined to confront what he called the poisonous and fanatical ideology of extremists wherever it occurs. Obama said intelligence agencies must be allowed to track militants online despite lots of people's concerns about privacy. Both leaders also agreed to establish a joint cyber cell to share intelligence on hacking attacks weeks after Sony Pictures was hacked, that in an incident the FBI blamed on North Korea. And the pace of anti-terror operations has stepped up markedly across Europe, with police in France, Germany, Belgium and Ireland arresting at least 30 suspects within the last 24 hours or so. In Belgium, authorities said 12 anti-terror raids led to 13 arrests and the seizure of assault rifles, handguns and explosives. The authorities there also say several police uniforms were found, suggesting the plotters intended to masquerade as police officers before launching their attack. German authorities arrested 2 men in Berlin on suspicion of recruiting fighters and procuring equipment and sending money to the group that calls itself Islamic State. Officers in Ireland detained a suspected French-Algerian militant at Dublin airport as he tried to enter the country using a fake passport. Now, shifting gears a bit, a lot of weight loss products on the market promise you the world when it comes to shedding those extra pounds, but most of them, unfortunately, fail to live up to the hype. But the answer to every dieter's prayers could have arrived in the shape of a pill, which its developers say tricks the body into thinking it has eaten a rather nice meal. Our Kim Hyun-bin reports.
Most overweight people would do whatever it takes to shed a few unwanted kilograms from their hips, tummy, or buttocks. While physical exercise is proven to work, it takes a lot of time and even more effort. Special diets, too, while useful for some people, can be difficult to maintain for more than a few weeks. But new hope could be on the horizon. A group of scientists have developed what they say is a miracle weight loss pill. They say the drug, which stimulates the pharyngoid X receptor, tricks the body into thinking that it has consumed a satisfying meal.
It burns the fat from your fat tissue to make room for the new calories. But since there are no new calories actually coming in, you begin to lose weight.
A number of dietary supplements currently on the market can have negative side effects on your liver, kidneys, or other organs. But the scientists behind this new pill say that, as it only functions in the intestine, it has no major side effects to speak of. The pill was tested on mice over a 5-week period. Not only did they lose weight, but their cholesterol levels also dropped. The researchers say that if the drug was approved, a person could use it along with a diet and exercise plan to speed up weight loss. This research was published in the most recent edition of the medical journal, Nature Medicine. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Now, so-called superfoods have taken the Korean market by storm and are especially popular with women seeking low-calorie but highly nutritional food options. But are these products all they're cracked up to be? Son Jung-in reports.
At this supermarket in Korea, one whole shelf is dedicated to so-called superfoods that are known to be beneficial for health. The somewhat unfamiliar products from quinoa to lentils to chia seeds attract curious Korean customers. Dubbed the super grains of the future, these low-fat, nutrient-rich foods are gaining popularity here, especially among women, ever since a Korean female celebrity endorsed them as her secret to staying in shape. Monthly sales of lentils, for instance, have jumped 30-fold since June, right after a post about the foods appeared on the celebrity's blog.
The demand for superfoods like chia seeds, lentils, and quinoa has risen steadily since late last year, so we decided to set aside a special section just for the grains.
Quinoa is low in calories but contains twice as much protein than brown rice and 4 times as much calcium. Lentils, deemed one of the world's 5 healthiest foods along with kimchi, are high in insoluble fiber, which helps lower the bad kind of cholesterol. Chia seeds have also recently gained attention for being rich in omega-3 fatty acids and minerals. However, despite the high nutritional profile and health benefits of these foods, experts say it is important to know how much to consume.
Many people are eating super grains every day, but if you eat too much, it can cause diarrhea and allergies, so it is important to know what the right portion is.
Doctors stress that super grains should be just one part of a person's daily nutrient intake along with other types of foods. They say it is more important to eat a balanced meal that fits your individual needs and constitution. 손정인, Arirang News.
South Korea have beaten Australia 1-0 in their final Group A match at this year's Asian Cup in hot and humid conditions in Brisbane. Striker Ri Yong-ho, marking his international debut, scored what turned out to be the winning goal there in the 32nd minute. South Korea will take on either Uzbekistan or Saudi Arabia in the quarter-final next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Korea time in Melbourne. And before we go, taking a brief look at the weather here in Korea. Most of the country is under clear skies this evening. We're going to see the mercury drop to a very chilly -9 degrees Celsius overnight in Seoul. Sunday is going to be another bright day across much of the peninsula, with the high topping out at 4 degrees Celsius in the capital. Now, for those of you watching us overseas, here's the weather in your part of the world. Well, those are the stories we have for now. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.